The big story for today is that a few islands have been discovered in the Pacific Ocean, an archipelago, if you will. The largest of these new islands is about the size of Texas, and the smallest, about the size of Rhode Island. It's unknown how these islands have remained hidden for so long, but there they are, in the middle of the ocean. Scientists plan on descending on the island within the hour. We'll give you more news as it arrives. We're investigating an island. A few years after the Great Fire, we're here on a volcanic island in an abandoned laboratory. Now it has been deemed safe for humans, but we did have to tear down a lot of caution biohazard tape to enter, but I'm sure we'll be fine. Around 30 years ago, a handful of researchers found traces of DNA in almost all species, along with signs of experiments trying to go in depth in the study of uka. Most of the place was burned from extensive experimentation, and many of the DNA samples have been destroyed. The fire originated in the laboratory. This leads me to believe that uka itself caused the fire in a devastating arson case. For shame, uka, for shame. The fire was able to expose the remaining samples, allowing untold amounts of unknown virus to contaminate the area. Since the laboratory was on an island, it was believed the virus could be carried out to sea. Over a period of time, with genetic variation coming into play, this likely caused many changes in species in water and on land. More information on the mysterious islands. You know, the one in the Pacific Ocean. Scientists have discovered a series of new species never before seen. One of which is a turtle that inhales water to be stored later and shot out in some sort of a defense mechanism. So far, many scientists have gotten wet, but none have been seriously injured. The scientists plan on testing the species' DNA and seeing how its DNA relates to any known species. In other news, science has blessed us with another miracle today. Two scientists were having an argument about the origin of life on Earth. One of the two parties doubted the involvement of prokaryotes, and that's bacteria and some other microbes for non-scientific viewers, and the eventual emergence of more complex multicellular and eukaryotic organisms. This disagreement turned into a $20 bet. One of the two men, named Avery Griffith, suggested they use his time machine to settle the debate. He was stated by saying that the time machine he never used because, quote, he'd never found a use for it, and thus has been collecting dust in his garage. We interviewed Mr. Griffith to tell us about his experience.
Well, I simply told him to hop in the back of my DeLorean so we could go on a trip into the past. In the past, he realized that I was right, and that prokaryotes invaded other cells and became organelles that help the cells become more complex organisms like eukaryotes today. I tell you, it was the easiest 20 bucks I ever made.
That last segment was brought to you by Seagram's Ginger Ale, where I always drink with the label out. Refreshing. We've contacted one of the scientists who is working on the island. Hello, Professor Willow. Are you there, Professor? Can you hear me?
Yes. I can hear you. Can you tell me a little bit more about yourself? Are you a boy or a girl?
I am a boy. Anyway, can you tell me a bit about the discoveries you and your team have made on the island?
We have started to sequence the DNA of many of these species. In some of these species, viral RNA is present. We have named the virus PKRS. The virus appears to be mutualistic for infected organisms. The virus gives its host a competitive advantage in natural selection by making the creature stronger and faster. This process of becoming stronger is caused by horizontal gene transfer, or HGT. HGT is the process where the virus splices in segments of DNA into their host. This can transfer positive traits from other species or the virus itself, giving it extra strength. This will probably affect the species down the line and possibly affect evolution. I plan on studying the evolution of these new species one day, and I hope to create a catalog of all of these new creatures.
An advanced culture of people have been discovered on one of these islands. They've been known to follow primitive and strange traditions and hold outlandish beliefs. It's common for children to leave home at age 10 and travel the world. In addition, capturing and forcing the local fauna to fight each other is a sacred tradition. Luckily, a mysterious but powerful benefactor has donated large sums of money to fund schools on the island to help educate the locals. Now we go to Foy Bardis, who's giving us more on these schools.
Thanks, newscaster. Here on the Pokepelago, one of the major concerns is fixing the misconceptions about evolution. The people here think that evolution can take place during the lifetime of an organism. How stupid! Here we teach that evolution is a process that takes place over time. Genetic mutations lead to genetic variation that drives evolution. Beneficial traits tend to be passed on because they help the organisms better survive and reproduce. We teach about all the factors controlling evolution: competition, coevolution, natural selection, sexual selection, gene flow, genetic drift, migration, artificial selection, and of course, the 3 forms of symbiosis. We teach things like how organisms' competition with each other can increase the rate of evolution because of intense screening of harsh competition. The people here on the Pokepelago have sped up this process of evolution through artificial selection by forcing the organisms to fight amongst themselves. We also teach how microbes like prokaryotes and even viruses can affect the evolution of organisms. These types of organisms will kill the larger organisms, screening out the weak ones and letting only the strong ones survive. Also, these microbes have high reproduction rates and high mutation rates. This allows them to evolve quickly and evolve with the prokaryotes. In a way, microbes are one of the biggest factors impacting evolution on a molecular level. Once this establishment is complete, and many like it, we can teach everyone all this wonderful knowledge.
More information on the Screaming Dark. More information on the mysterious islands. You know, the one in the Pacific Ocean. You forgot to read. Is decrypted. Bleh.
Okay.
I'm a boy. Anyway, can you tell me about this?
Keep going, come on, keep going.
I would be a great newscaster.
Okay, keep going, I'm gonna cut it out.
With the label out.
Okay.
I need that refreshment.
We have started to sequence the DNA of many of these species. In some of these species, viral RNA is present. We have named the virus. Oh my god. Let me actually read this.
Alright, 2 things I might want to say. Try to stand still because we don't want.
Are the biggest one of that? We can edit that different. Okay.
Our big story for today is that a few islands have been discovered in the Pacific Ocean. Okay.